My name is Kev Krow. I'm from Villain.
Swanny Fly from Eastside Villain.
K.M.V video, you know this is for sure. K.M.V video, open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby. K.M.V video, you know this is for sure. K.M.V video, open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby. For the dime moves and the lokes, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole, for the homegirls with the scrap game, little homies that gang bang, from Pelican Bay to YA, rearrange your mind frame. Yeah, I know what you been through, shit you had to go tend to. Your mama gave birth on the turf, I know them killers you kin to. This for the lost generation, broke as hell, mad and impatient. But if you know your history, you can't have a strong foundation, baby. K.M.V video, you know this is for sure. K.M.V video, open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby. K.M.V video, you know this is for sure. K.M.V video, open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby.
I was born and raised on 4th Avenue and Florence. I was raised over there, moved to the East Side, started hanging out, started messing with the Bloods, and ended up turning Bloodstone Villain.
When did you move from the West Side to the East Side?
Likely about 1975. My mother and father had separated at the time because my brother got deceased. He wasn't really gang banging, but he used to claim 7 Trey Hustler. When 7 Trey Hustler came out by 79, and he ended up getting killed. So my mother kind of blamed it on my pops from taking him on the East Side over there. So he ended up getting killed. So we had separated our family. So I ended up moving with my pops, and my 2 brothers started staying with my moms, and I was staying in the projects at the time. Originally, I used to be from Pueblos, but then I happened to just start hanging out with villains, me and my homie Lonely Man, and I ended up turning Bloodstone Villain at the time of that.
So you moved from the 60s to the Pueblos.
Exactly.
And then how do you get with BSV?
Oh, hanging out with the villains, you know, they used to strike on the wall, real kind of cool. They was with the business, you know, so being that we was over there, me and the homie Lonely Man all the time, because basically Lonely Man from Pueblos kind of raised me. That was one of my partners, real deep like. So he used to kick it with Jesse James before Jesse James got killed. So during that time of the period, like all the Pueblos I used to hang with went to jail, so I ended up converting to BSV.
I want to go back to the 7 Trey Hustlers. Not too many people mention that. Where were they located at?
They was located right there in between, you could say right there by Van Ness, right there by 74th Street School, up in that area by Arlington, right there at the time, yeah.
And what happened to them?
I guess some of them convert after that little war broke out. I guess so with the 6s and Trays, some of them started claiming 6-0s and 8 Trays.
Do you remember any of them by name?
No, I remember their face. I know my brother used to claim 7 Trey. A lot of people know me. They know my brother Frank. They remember that.
You got brothers from another hood, right?
Yeah.
Who are your brothers?
Morrock from 60 and Fred from 60.
Did y'all ever have any family turmoil over that?
Nah, we always been close. I love my brothers, you know, even though they solid, you know, we grew up like that, you know, and that's how it is, you know. I love my brothers. Them always had their back. We always on their big brothers, so I got to take care of them. And they kind of was raised right, you know, even though we from different hoods, I'm always love my brothers and them, because that's family. No matter what, we have our differences, but I'm gonna always be on their side 100%.
Wait a minute. So how did you end up on the east side and they ended up on like 57th or something like that?
Yeah, on that's a whole different story. When they
the
moved right
shootout.
there, when they moved right there, that's a whole different story. We was actually, my mom stayed on 57. So before my brothers and them really, they knew a lot of 6-0s. We knew a lot of 6-0s. We grew up over there. But before then, on 57, it was a hustler set. We actually, a lot of people don't know what started that. Me, my cousin, my homeboy Bag used to go over there and hustle all the time. So at the time, they started claiming 5-7 hustlers. So me, my cousin, and my other cousin, we actually invented that neighborhood right there before they even started gangbangers, because you had the 5'8" Playboys across Slauson right there. So then the 5'7s came along, but they was hustlers. So they was getting into it with the Fathers Hoovers a lot over there. So they ended up doing that, and they was like, man, we hustlers. So they kind of grew, right? So when I went to jail, the 6-0s started coming over there and turned them out.
I'm trying to figure out, you're on the east side with the villains.
Yeah.
But more rock and them were on the west.
Because he lived with his daddy.
Because I stayed with my daddy, and they stayed with moms.
Gotcha. The name Swanny Fly, what's behind that?
Oh, I used to play football. I used to have a partner, right? He rest in peace. We used to play football across Home Avenue in the projects on 52nd and Home. And we used to always play our Sunday games right there, right? And I also used to play for Jefferson High. So I had hands. So dudes started calling me Swanny. And my boy Charlie Fly from out the Pueblos put the fly on the end. So that's how I became Swanny Fly. From, playing football. Everybody used to like the Steelers and Cowboys back then. So everybody's like Lynn Swans, and they just put the N-Y on it and say Swanny Fly. And that's how I became that.
Swanny Fly, how does that correlate with the 4 trays and the 4 deuces and all those? Because the flies are abroad and across, right? Because they got some flies over there, and there's some flies over in your neighborhood, right?
No, I'm only one, right? But it was one from Charlie Fly from out the Pueblos.
Okay.
I'm actually from the Villains, but like I said, I used to be from Pueblos. So me and Charlie Fly used to hang around each other a lot.
So follow me on this stuff.
Right.
There's some girls in that area. They go by like Jackie Fly, Tina Fly. And
Oh yeah, that's the whole
Kitty
girl.
Fly.
Oh, Kitty Fly out the 40s.
So
Tina
that's
Fly,
what I'm saying.
she from, yeah.
Just in the bottom per se, they use the name Fly. Because I used to go to Marshall's and everybody up there had Fly after their name.
Yeah.
You know what Marshall's is on.
Yeah, because everybody was hustling back in the 80s, so they wanted that. But my name was always unique. I just kept it like that. I had a royalty. You know what I'm saying? I used to do my thing, and I let Swanny Fly from Eastside Villain. That's what I did. You know what I'm saying?
You fly right now.
Thank you. I appreciate it, y'all.
That's crazy though. Swanny Fly and Villain started 5-7 hustlers.
Yeah, exactly.
These dudes are neighborhood Crips now.
Yeah.
Are they aware that you're one of their founders?
Yeah, because my family, I got like 7 family members that's from 5-7 hustlers right now. So they tell them their history. They was like, OG Blood started this set. And it's actually facts. This is no putting a 2 on a 10, it's actually facts. History is history, it is what it is.
There was other hustler sets in that area. Do you know of them?
Only hustler sets really was 5-8 was first. Then 5-7 came along. Then you had the 5-5s. All them was, nobody really gangbanging from that. But, Teaspoon and them started 5-8. Teaspoon from 60 started 5-8. Everybody know that history over there because I used to be in Brimhood all the time. When I come over to my mother's house on 58, I roll down in Brimhood and kick it with the Brim. That's how I know all them sets and all them dudes from over there. I actually met all them dudes before, period,
That explains a lot because out of all those little hustler sets, they ended up being BK gangs.
Exactly.
And those 5-7s would never diss Brims. They would only diss 5 Deuce Hoopers, the 5-7s.
Yeah, exactly.
That's because of you?
Probably so. Because like I said, it would have been crazy though. I don't know what would have happened if I wouldn't have never went to the feds and caught that 20. They probably would have been, 5-7 Villains, West Sides, You never know because, we used to be over there a lot. And all, damn near my whole family, that's my cousins and them, they kind of like, That's what they claimed. They ended up claiming Crip, after all that.
You mentioned 5'5".
Right.
Can you dig in a little bit deeper on 5'5"s?
Oh, they came in right after 5'7" came in. Cause right after that they started writing 5'5" on the wall. And they started being a playboy, a hustler said, I can't really recall, but I remember when they came in. Cause then like the 5'8" and the 5'7" used to always be like on some, we here, you know what I'm saying? But as far as that, everything was like, it was crazy though, because my brothers and them was like, man, when I tripped out, they was like, man, 5'7", 5'7". That's all they used to write on the wall.
Were you aware that the catwalks, were they out back then? On 51st and Dinker? Or that's a little bit out the range?
Probably out the, they was out back then. I think right there on 51st and Dinker, you're right. Because that school used to be right there. They was out right there. Right.
Now, where was you born and raised?
I was born and raised in two spots. My mama stayed on 55th in between Ascot and Compton, and my daddy stayed on 55th in between Main and Broadway.
You raised in the Villains.
Yeah.
What year did they land on 55th?
In 1971.
And where did they come from?
Shit. Actually, to be truthful, they came from 51st and Main.
Really? So your parents weren't part of no black migration from the South to the low bottoms?
No. Well, they had already been here. My daddy and they came from the South, but my grandmother and my father and they had already been here when I was born. So they had been here for a while.
So they landed where first? You said?
My mom used to stay on 55th and Main. You know what I'm saying? We used to stay on 55th and Main, right next to the cleaners. Used to be a cleaners there. It's still there right now. Reasonable Cleaners. It's an apartment building next door. That's where we used to stay at. It was some courts right next to the cleaners. That's where my daddy stayed at. And my grandmother and them stayed on 55th.
What junior highs and high schools did you attend?
None. Junior high, I went to a Catholic school. I went to Holy Cross Middle School, 7th to 8th grade, and then I went to jail. So I never really went to high school. I went to jail from 1984 to 1990.
So when did you step off the porch and become a villain?
I became a villain, let me see. I got shot in 1982. Or 3. Maybe 3. When did you go to jail?
You went before me. For that stuff on Hooper and 55th.
Okay, no. You went to the shooting first. The other, you got assault with a deadly weapon. That shooting.
Yeah.
You went to camp.
Early 8 part of 83.
Okay. So, yeah, I got shot then, and right after that.
Yeah.
So I got shot in the beginning of 83.
And you're bringing that up why? Because that's when you turned villain after you got shot?
Well, the thing of it is, before I got shot, I knew everybody in the neighborhood, but I played baseball. My whole thing was, I love baseball. So all my homeboys, they was my homeboys, but I didn't hang with them. I knew them, but I didn't hang with you. Why? Because the shit you do, I don't do. I had a big family, and we all stayed in my neighborhood, so we used to kind of fight against all the dudes that was villains. Because at that time, we were not. But we just stayed in the neighborhood. I started hanging around, with the guys. And I was from the hood, but not really from the hood. I would wear red and different stuff. When I went other places, I would say this villain. But at that point, it was like, well, no, I was from the hood before then because I was with you. So
let me ask you this: when you joined Villains, did they already have the Bloodstone on it, or were they just Eastside Villains?
No. When I joined Villain, they already had the Bloodstone on there. That came.
What year?
That came in like They was first it was Eastside Villains. I remember it was Eastside Villains. But at some point, it had to be like in the early 70s.
Well, let me ask you this: if you can give a 5-man roll call of the original villains, who would they be?
When you say villains is split in like 2 different categories. You got, when people say villains, it was villains probably since the day I was born. It was villains probably since 1969. It was villains. But then you had a certain era where like the second generation of villains were gangbangers. It was villains before they were gangbangers. Gangbangers came around maybe in like the late 70s, 77, 78, 79. That's when people became gangbangers.
So it's the same scenario with the Pueblos existing with the villains as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what, like the first generation was like hustler types?
No, they were just with dudes. They were just dudes on the east side. And at the point, our homies, they just refused to be Crips. They didn't want to be Crips. When the dudes was coming around, who was also East Siders, and asking everybody to sign up to be Crips and this and that and this and that, they said no.
Well, let's do this if you can. Give us a roll call, the first generation from the late 60s, and then give us a roll call of the gang bangers from the late 70s, if you can. The household names during those 2 different eras. Whose names was ringing during those times?
It was a lot of homies. The ones that's the ones that's alive, I don't want to say. I don't know if they want their name said because they're alive and well. And I'm not gonna lie to you. One homie in particular that I hats off to the homie because that's my homeboy.
Well, omit who you feel needs to be omitted.
But no. It's the other thing with it is like we got homies that it's like I'm gonna just tell you I'm 50 years old. So therefore I got homies that's 54, 55, 56 years old. Those are the homies that I look up to. Those are my big homies. So those are the ones who started gang banging in the late 70s, 77, 78, 79.
Those gangbangers, are they the ones that brought blood to the village?
They the ones that were the first gang bangers. It was always villains before. It was villains before them, but then they started. Whereas gangs didn't all, it was a lot of gangs, but they didn't do what they eventually became to do.
I'm saying, who was the ones that planted the red flag and wrote blood on the wall, or CK, or CN?
That didn't,
Who were the resistors to the Crips coming into that part of the low bottoms? Who resisted that movement? Who were them guys?
From our neighborhood?
From the 50s, yeah.
The Snell family, basically, off 57. Michael Bowie, my homeboy Big Tick, they family actually started Villain. When they started Villain,
Michael Bowie put the name on
Michael Bowie put the name on it, Bloodstone. So when Villain first started off, before Villains, like he said, it was Eastside Villains, right? Then you had Latham Street, you know what I'm saying? You had 57th Street, and they also wanted to start Central City Villains. But Michael Bowie said, no, we ain't doing that. So after that, they just came out. After that, during the period of years, we started putting streets, 5 dudes, 5, 6, 5, 7. So it was 3 sets of us. But as far as that, as history goes, the Snell family basically started Villain. Michael Bowie is our OG homie. Tick was probably one of the first homies that went to the pen. And some OG other homies, they rest in peace right now. Bless their soul.
Where did Michael Bowie grow up at? What block was he on?
He grew up on 57th Street, right there, Ascot and 57.
Well, the 57 gets kind of looked over. It always,
no,
you think of BSV, you think of 5 deuce and 5, 6.
Well, what happened, they outgrow. 5 deuce, 5, 6 outgrow. So originally, like a lot of people don't know about 5-7 Villains, but they really exist. They was probably one of the first homies. But in that time, you had the Latham Streets, then they end up turning 5 deuces, then you had the 5 6s. And they end up getting deep. The 5 deuces end up getting deep. Then the 5 6 start getting deep. And then the 5'7s, my homie Puppet, rest in peace, used to always write 5'7 Villain because he stayed on 5'7. He claimed it 5'7. So that's how it was. And being that I used to always kick it with 5'6s, but I always been a 5 deuce. I turned 5 deuce, and from there, you know, we used to be on 55th Street, right there between Ascot and Hooper. That's where we all used to be at. But as far as that, we really all just won. We really all just won, but we always had 3 sets. Even a lot of people don't know about Latham Street. I know about that. The homies used to be right there chilling. My OG homeboy Doodle.
Are these actual separate sets or just blocks within the
Blocks.
No, it's just blocks in the neighborhoods before we even started writing Bloodstone Villain, Eastside Villain, and all that. You know, but we always had a tight hood. We always been good homies. We lost homies period over the years, but like I said, I turned villain probably in like 82.
Do you know Michael Bowie?
Michael Bowie.
Bowie.
Yeah.
Do you know if he got that Bloodstone off of the R&B group?
No, I can't say
There's
that.
a lot of debate on that. We don't know where he got it from.
Is he still alive?
No.
That's the big homie, rest in peace.
So is that correlation formed because you got the Black Peace Stone, then you got the City Stone, and you got the Bloodstone? Do you think all 3 came together at some point and sat down and say, hey, we gonna come together and we're gonna just be stones?
No,
Nope.
I don't think
That never happened like that?
Nope.
Where does the name come from?
Well, we know it come from Chicago because Chicago's had the first stones out
Right,
there
right.
before even LA even had stones.
Right.
So at some point, it probably popped up in their head from each set. You know,
You don't give Chicago credit for the Stones in LA.
you got they the first ones that was stones. They had
They do
stones.
get credit for the Black Stone.
I know the Stones in Chicago, but do you think kids in the low bottoms were aware of the Stones to snatch that?
I mean, you back then, what you had
Isn't it
Sly and the
Rodgers guy
Family
originally
Stone.
from the Chicago Stones?
No, you had Sly and the Family
Chicago.
Stone. So different words meant different things back then. You think about it, different things. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people used to say, "What's that blood?" and they wasn't gangbangers.
That's
It
true.
just meant something different back then. So the word stone to them probably meant something way different than what it meant
So
to do
T. Rogers' influence did not reach over to the Bloodstones or
on the
City
east side.
Stones?
No,
No,
Okay.
no.
Let me ask you something about Michael
Bowie.
He was a villain, Eastside villain. Was he part of anything else before the Villains was formed?
No, sir. Just that.
Who's your pops?
My pop's name is Carter Spikes.
And where did he grow up at?
Grew up in South Park.
And was he part of any of?
He was a South Park businessman.
And did he move over there on 55th and Ascot with the family?
Nah,
So the Villains neighborhood prior to the Villains wasn't a businessman.
no. Prior to that, it would have been considered like with the Slausons. Because the businessmen, they was like in the Jefferson area on the east side, but they kind of stopped off like right around Central. And then the Slausons was back there, and the Peblos, they kind of stopped off right there.
Let me ask you this: are any of your founders big homies, or your homeboys' parents?
Mostly all of them is businessmen or Slausons. They either or, both. All of them, just about all of them. If you lived over there, one of your mother and fathers, they either from Slausons or businessmen.
Come on, man.
Did Sammy Green influence the hustling in the Bloodstones?
No. He just happened to open that little
Hamburger stand, had a couple of hoes.
Yeah, juicy burgers, and had some females working in there. and everybody just used to go there all the time.
Everybody love that thing.
Everybody love that thing burger. That's, you know, everybody
Super
love that
tacos.
thing. Yeah, super tacos. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
Well, he's a well-known hustler from out of the bottoms. And
Oh yeah, most definitely.
down there. So, what was you guys experience with doing the SLA during that time? Where were you guys at, and what was your mindset about what was taking place at that time?
During the SLA time, I remember it was the first time I seen a real machine gun. Before then, I seen my daddy's gun, but I never seen like a SWAT man gun. They was like in the yard, like we was like, whoa. So at the time, you know, I was a kid, so I didn't know nothing, but they got the white broad down there. We was thinking the bright broad, and everybody kept saying, she ain't even down there, she ain't even down there. And they burnt up the whole, you know, it was like some apartment buildings, houses, and they burnt them up.
They was determined to get sent Q, no matter what.
The Eyewitness News Team.
Good evening, I'm Judd Hambrick. Here's what's happening at 11 o'clock. The gunfire has stopped and the flames are out, but a big question mark still hangs over south central Los Angeles at this very moment. A question as large and perhaps as tragic as any on the West Coast in the last 103 days. Is the body of Patty Hearst among the 5 found early tonight in a shot-up, burned-out home on 54th and Compton Avenues? A home that went up in unchecked flames as the climax of a shootout in which Los Angeles police fired more ammunition than they ever had fired before in a single law enforcement assault. Just who are the 5 persons killed? That still is not known. If any of them have been identified, it's not been officially disclosed. At Hillsborough, California, the Randolph Hearst family has apparently given in to the inevitable fear. A family spokesman said tonight that the feeling inside the Hearst home is that it's all over for Patty. Yet despite that atmosphere, the family spokesman added that the Hearsts still are clinging to some hope that their daughter was somewhere else, not in a stucco house at Compton and 54th Avenue here in Los Angeles.
Patty Hearst wasn't in the fire.
No, she wasn't there.
Good evening. Patty Hearst has been taken into custody. The FBI says Patty Hearst was picked up today in San Francisco. The Hearst newspaper heiress has been missing for 19 months. First, she was kidnapped. Then she announced that she had joined ranks with her kidnappers, members of the Symbionese Liberation Army. She called herself Tanya. She was later indicted in connection with a San Francisco bank holdup and labeled a fugitive.
During that time, that was a big thing.
Patty Hearst shared a $300 a month apartment with her fiancé, Stephen Weed. She was kidnapped the night of February 4th by 2 black men and a white woman. Witnesses said the abductors fired guns as they fled. Stephen Weed was badly beaten, but he said he would not testify against the suspects if Patty Hearst were released unharmed. 3 days later, the kidnappers sent a taped message identifying themselves as members of the Symbionese Liberation Army. The SLA's ransom demand was for free food. And the Hearst family and the Hearst Corporation bought $2 million worth. But the food giveaway plan was badly managed. The SLA said in a later tape, the giveaway was a sham. In April, the SLA used a San Francisco florist to deliver another message. It said the details of Patty's release would be made public within 3 days. But the next day, another tape dashed any hope Patty Hearst would be coming home.
I was been given the choice of 1, being released in a safe area, or 2, joining the forces of the Symbionese Liberation Army and fighting for my freedom and the freedom of all oppressed people. I have chosen to stay and fight.
Two weeks later, on April 15th, 5 members of the SLA robbed the Hibernia Bank in San Francisco. 2 people were shot during the robbery, and the SLA gang got away with more than $10,000. The robbery was filmed by the bank's automatic cameras. The FBI said the girl in the wig with the automatic rifle was Patricia Hearst.
And probably everybody that was around in this circumference, whether it was Pebbles, Villains, or even
a lot of things that people don't know about Sammy Green. His daddy owned the market that was right there too. So he had the hamburger stand, but Mr. Green's was a store and a cleaners right on the corner. Yeah, the Greensville. But his daddy had the store right there. Mr. Green's was like we used to go in there and buy candy, and Mr. Green's was one of the stores that he sold BBs. I was a kid, so he sold BBs, and if you didn't go to Mr. Green to get no BBs, you had to go all the way on Central and 45th to Cheap Charlie's to get some BBs and the little stuff. You know, we was kids. We did little kid stuff.
I wanted to ask you also about a couple of people like Adam Ant, Hooper Rock, and B-Dog. Are they still around?
Oh yeah, them the little homies. Adam Mac just got out from doing 21. He been out for like 2.5 years. Hooper Rock, he back in the state joint. You know, we talk to him sometimes. He doing all right. You know, so and who else you asked about? B-Dog moved to Vegas. He out in Vegas somewhere. But them the homies. They real homies. They doing all right though. They some real good dudes. Yeah. Them my guys.
See, Adam Ant is a dude. I don't know.
I want to ask you a little more about the SLA, if you do know. What made them pick 55th and Ascot to hold those people hostage? Were they part of the neighborhood? They live in the neighborhood?
At that time, you know, during that time, a lot of black people lived on the East Side. The West Side wasn't with a lot of black people then. Of course, them people had big houses over there. They had, you know, the East Side was affordable for black people. So based on the fact that, you know, the SLA was if you wanted to hide and you was black, you had to hide among black people. I can't go hide over in white people, you know.
I'm wondering if these members were like old school Slausons that turned revolutionary or something.
Back then you had some people, cause one of my dad's close friends, I remember when he first became a Muslim, and I was a kid, and you know his name was Fred. So I remember he used to tell us to call him. Well, now you just call me Brother Fred, and you know it was like that never stuck with my dad. He didn't, you know what I'm saying. He wasn't finna go buy no dashiki and nothing like that. He wasn't that type of dude.